So yesterday we did Ubuntu setup in Shiv Kumar mission and then Mathesh's mission, right? Shiv Kumar, can you share the screen? Is that installation complete?
Yeah, it's coming.
Can you share your screen?
Just a second. It's visible.
Yes, so yeah. So once the installation is complete, so you see Ubuntu mission something like this. Can you log in? Not working?
I think no, not working.
Switch off and then restart it. Switch off. I mean, shut down the mission. Top right. That is also not responding.
Yeah.
Close that Oracle Virtual Box. Power off. Log in to VMware Workstation. Click on that mission and just say power on. There's a green color button, right? Just click on that. Yeah.
Why? You don't predict. Yeah.
What about you, Marcos? You're able to log into your Linux?
Yeah, like what happened yesterday that Oracle which would have faced some issue. So it did like that application is stuck somewhere. So I need to reinstall it. Like instead of that, I again implemented in VMware. So I have a Ubuntu machine in VMware.
It's working now?
It's working, but that here also that screen size is a little small. So
Okay.
like yesterday.
Yeah, it is logged in.
Yeah. So in case if you feel that, just say skip or next. Next. Okay. So in case if you feel screen size is very small, you can increase the screen size. Again, it depends on the resolution of
Monday last take enough.
monitor. Okay. So in some missions you can increase, in some missions you cannot. So let's see. Let's try to increase the screen size here. Just say right click. Right click. If you want to play with the screen size, right click and go to display settings. Display settings, resolution. Now it is 1280 by 800, right? So
Yeah,
take the
that
bigger
means,
value. 1280 by 960.
it will.
Keep. But see the screen size is little bigger, but you got the scroll bar right side. Remind me later. But scrolling up and down is very inconvenient, right? Always. That means this is not, man, you cannot increase more than this.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can go back to the previous value. Try that 960. Yeah. Let's see. Keep changes. Again, you want the scroll box. Scroll bar. That means, so you can have only that much of the, yeah, you can have only this 1280 by 800 size. You cannot have more than that. So this way you can try, everybody. You can try to increase the screen size. If you're okay with the scroll bar, you can
Yeah.
maximize it, but scroll bar is not convenient always. Okay. You can stop the screen, Shivkumar.
Okay.
Anybody else is facing the issue in setting up Linux machine? Okay. So now I'm assuming everybody has a Linux machines ready, okay, locally. In case if you are still facing some issue, let me know, right? I'll show you the alternate options, okay? So let me share my screen. Okay. So this is my Linux. This is my Ubuntu, okay? So as you know, if whenever you want to work on DevOps, whenever you want to practice DevOps, go to Linux and then practice everything here. Don't practice any DevOps tools or automations practicals on Windows, okay? Very rarely we use Windows in real time. In case if at all you have to work on Windows, whatever Windows knowledge you have, that is enough, okay? So don't practice anything on Windows, because Windows is designed for personal computing, correct? Windows is designed for personal computing. Of course, you can run applications on Windows also, but Windows is mostly widely used for personal use, correct? That means like, editing Word, PPTs, and stuff like that. So it's a GUI based operating system. Windows is called GUI based operating system. That means we operate Windows machines mostly graphically, correct? Graphical in the sense you just right click, say new folder, right click, create file, and things like that. Of course, you can operate Linux also, in a graphical mode like this, okay, with mouse. But in Linux world, mostly we operate the machines using commands. Windows, we operate in a GUI mode because operating Windows with commands is very difficult. Okay, so Windows commands are not very easy to remember and then not user friendly. Whereas Linux commands are user friendly, and Linux is designed to be operated with commands, and Linux is designed for running applications, whereas Windows is for personal computing. Correct? Okay. So since we operate Linux machines with commands, right? We should learn Linux commands. In fact, in real time, we will be working with the tens, hundreds of missions sometimes. We will be working with tens, hundreds of missions, and you won't be having all missions in front of you like this. No, you won't be having a mission graphically like this. If you have a mission graphically in front of you like this, you can say, for example, create a folder, copy paste the file. Say for example, you can copy, go to some directory, paste, and things like that, right? What if you don't have mission, accessible graphically? You cannot use mouse and copy paste, creating folder and things like that, right? Correct. In that case, we have only one option, that is command line. So when we are working with real time, we'll be having missions somewhere in the US, for example. You'll be sitting in Bangalore, for example. You'll be having only a command line access to that mission. That means like this. That means you'll be having only a terminal. In Windows, you call it the command prompt. In Linux, we call it as terminal. In Linux, we call this as what? Terminal. This is where we type our commands, correct? So you'll be having only a terminal from that remote mission, and you have to operate that mission using commands. For example, you want to install something, you use some commands here, right? You want to copy paste, we use some commands, and so on. So how do you open the terminal? Initially, say for example, do this. Just say right click, click on open terminal, okay? And you can add it to the favorites. This is like your taskbar in Windows, okay? Just say add to favorites. Next time, you don't need to right click and then open, okay? You can just click on this. This is like a taskbar, right? Okay. So just double click to maximize it. And you see the font size is very small, right? If you want to increase the font size, Control Shift plus. That's a shortcut, okay? Press Control Shift Hold plus plus. That's how you maximize the font size. If you want to minimize, it's just Control minus, Control minus, Control Shift plus plus, Control minus. 1 second. One second. Sorry. So it's a Control Shift plus plus and then Control minus. Okay, right. So here it will show you, it will show your name. Okay, my name is Parallels. Try to remember it. Okay, what's my name? Parallels. In this place, you see your username. Okay, and this is your mission name. What is this? Mission name. Whatever mission name you have given at the time of installation, it will show that. So and we call it as a command prompt or terminal, correct? This is where we type our commands. Okay. And like in Windows, right? If you want to open the file browser, you see you have an option here. Click on that. So this is called file browser. It's a very basic, right? If somebody already has a Linux working experience on Linux, you feel very bored, bear with me. So this is your file browser, right? This is where you can create your folders and things like that. In Windows, you see C colon, D colon kind of drives, right? In Linux, you don't see, C, D, E drives like that, okay? So this is home, recent files, your favorite files. Desktop is here, downloads, music, pictures, and so on. You see the trash here? In Windows, you call it as recycle bin. Here in Linux, we call it trash. Trash means recycle bin. So whatever files you delete, that will go here, right? Okay. So this is called home directory. Okay. See, desktop is under home. Remember, it's a capital D. Linux is case sensitive operating system. That means capital D, small d matters here. Whereas Windows is not case sensitive. It's a case insensitive operating system. Small d, capital D, both are same in Windows. And if you want to shut down your machine, you can go here, top right. Right, you have some options here. Power off, settings. This is your machine settings, okay? Power off. You can restart or power off from here. And yeah, these are the basics. And if you want to go to settings, you see one option here, left, down left. Okay, you see this? So here you can search for any applications. You have calculator here, right? Calendar, browser, and things like that. So in Windows, mostly we edit files in Notepad, correct? In Linux, there is no Notepad. Here, there is Notepad equivalent application called text editor. What is that? Text editor. See this? Just type here. Okay, you can search whatever you want here. Text editor. So this is where you can edit your files. So that's how you edit the files. Okay. And let me open the terminal. So first time, by default, the moment you open the terminal, it will take you to your user home. Okay. PWD, present working directory. This is where I am currently. I'm inside home parallels, right? I'm inside home parallels. If you want to go one directory back, use this command cd dot 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 will take you one directory back. PWD. I was in parallels. Okay. Now I am in home. Let me go one directory back again. PWD slash again. Let me go one directory back. Is it going? No, right? That means what? Slash is the root directory. That is the first directory in Linux. Everything else will be under slash only. And the name of the directory itself is slash. Name of this directory itself is slash. We call this as root directory. Remember, what do you call that? Root directory. What is there inside this root directory? Let's list ls. So the directory or folder, okay? You call it the directory or folder. The folder name itself is slash. We are under slash now. Under the slash folder, we have few more files and folders. Slash contains operating system related files and folders. These are all operating system related files and folders. We have installed Ubuntu, right? So these folders are related to Ubuntu operating system. Like in Windows, if you go to C drive, you see Windows operating system related files and folders, correct? In Linux, this is slash root directory. Let me try to create a directory here. Okay. So if you want to create a directory graphically, like in Windows, what do? You come here, for example, right click, you say new folder, correct? New folder, say DevOps, create. So that's how you create a folder, correct? But as I said, we won't be having missions graphically in front of us, right? So how do you create a directory? As I said, we operate Linux missions using commands only, correct? So there is a command called mkdir. Mkdir, say DevOps. What it says? It says, cannot create a directory DevOps, permission denied. Because I'm trying to create a directory under slash, correct? As I mentioned, slash contains operating system related files and folders. I logged in as what user? I logged in as parallels user. I logged in as parallels user. In your case, you see Harry, Sally, and so on. So by default, it will not allow normal users, regular users, to do anything here in slash directory. Normal users cannot go and do anything here because it contains operating system related folders, correct? It thinks that you are a normal user, and if you do some mistake, for example, by mistake, if you delete a file or directory here, operating system itself gets corrupted, correct? Operating system itself gets corrupted. So for security reason, it is not by default allowing you to create a folder or do any work. Then you ask a question. Okay, I want to create a directory. You are not allowing me for security reason. You're not allowing me to create a directory in under slash for security reason. So where should I work? You ask. That's your question, right? So that is the reason. At the time of installation, you would have given some username, right? So for you to do your work, it will create a directory by default under home. See this? 1 second. So I'm in slash, correct? Under slash, there is a directory called home, right? The directory called home. Go to home. 1 second. Okay, so under slash, there is a directory called home. ls under home, you see one directory matching your username. cd parallels. We call this as user home directory. What do you call this? Parallels is called as user home because this is where user can do his or her work. What do you call this? User home directory. In your case, it will show something like home/Harry, something like that. Okay. And by default, when you open the terminal, by default, it will take you to your home directory. See, I'm in my home directory by default. And what is there inside my home directory? ls. So these are all my folders. So by default, you cannot create files or directories under slash directory because it contains operating system related stuff. For security reasons, it cannot allow you to do your work there. So you ask operating system, okay, then where do I do my work? It says this is your area. This is your home directory, or you call it as user home. Somebody comes to your desk and says, okay, can you go to user home? That means what? They are referring to /home/parallels. Here you can do your work. mkdir make directory. mkdir say DevOps. So let me, very sorry. So for example, let me remove something. One second. I'm removing few directories. Okay, so this is my user home, right? I'm here. I want to create a directory. What is the command we use for creating a directory? mkdir. mkdir say DevOps. ls. See, the directory is created. So that's where we do our work. Home parallels. We call it as a home directory. Right. And if you want to list files and folders that you have in a particular directory, what's that command we use? ls list. Okay. See this. If you type ls, it is listing files and folders, correct? But I want to see more information about these files and folders. I want to see more information about these files and folders. If you want to see more information, I use an option called -l. So remember, this is called whatever you type first, that's called as a command. And whatever you type after command, that is called as an option. What do you call this? Option. Options mostly start with either single hyphen or double hyphen, depending on different commands. So what is this L doing here? See this -l. If I type ls, it lists files and folders. If I type -l, if I use -l option, it is giving me a lot of information about this folders and files. Correct? See this. ls is just giving you listing a directory. But here, if you use -l option, it is giving the username, whoever created this particular directory. We call the owner of the directory or owner of the file. It is giving you the size of the directory when this particular directory is last modified or created. And then it is also showing you permissions of the directory. I'll explain more about permissions later. Okay, let me create a file. If you want to create a file, we use a command called touch. Touch, for example, hello.txt. ls, this is a file. If I want to see the more information about files and folders, what is the option we use? -l, correct? -l. See this is a file, 0 size. empty file. File is created at this time, right? Now you must be thinking, right? So how do I identify which one is directory and then which one is file? Correct? See this? First character, okay? D means it's a directory. If the first character is D, that means it's a directory. Hyphen means it's a file, remember. Hyphen means it's a file. That's how you identify whether this is a directory or a file. Okay. PWD, I'm here under panels directory, ls, ls hyphen l, correct? Hyphen l is called as option. What option is doing here? Option is changing the default behavior of a command, correct? See, any command you take, that will have some default behavior. What is the behavior of ls command? If I say ls, what's the default behavior? It will just list files and folders. That's a default behavior. If you want to change the default behavior of a command, what do you do? Hyphen, what do? You have to use some option. Likewise, almost all Linux commands have options. So based on your requirement, you use option. What is my requirement now? I want to see more information about these files and folders. So there's an option for that. What is that option? Hyphen L. See this? Hyphen L. So the hyphen L is changing the default behavior of command called ls, correct? So hyphen L, right? That's the job of hyphen L option. Hyphen L means long list. Remember that way. Long list, that means give more information about something. Sometimes, right? See, I just created a file, correct? Hello.txt. Okay, I have very few files and folders here, so I can quickly go and check, right? But if you have a lot of files and folders, and if you want to check the most recent file or directory that you created, so you have to search in entire output, correct? Are you following? I have a lot of files and folders, say for example, 20. So the complete screen will be filled with 20 files and folders. I want to search or I want to check the most recent file that I worked with. So you have to go and search, right? For example, I want to search for hello.txt. Where is hello.txt? See, I'm searching. So that is a little inconvenient, right? So that is the reason, what we do to check the most recent one. We use an option called T. T means time, okay? So what is the job of hyphen T option? It will sort the output based on the modified time. See this? Hyphen T. Now you see hello.txt came on top, right? Because this is the most recently, this file is most recent one, recently modified or created. Before hello.txt, DevOps. See, we created DevOps folder, right? See, it is sorting the output based on the time. Based on time you created or last modified it. So ls is the command. If I want some extra behavior, if you want more information about something, or if I have some requirement, I have to use options. Options start with hyphen, right? L. L has, this behavior. It will show a lot of information. If I want to sort that output based on the time, hyphen T is the option. Again, there is some inconvenience here. Okay, you are able to sort the output based on modified time, and you see the recent one on top, right? Again, if you have many files, you may have to scroll up like this, right? To see the recent one, because the recent one is shown on top, correct? Recent one is shown on top. If you have more files and folders, you have to scroll up like this to see the recent one. Again, that's inconvenient, right? So, you know what we do? To avoid that, we use hyphen R. Hyphen R means reverse. That means it will flip this, okay? Reverse. Since now the most recent one comes in bottom. So this is the most recent one, second recent, third recent, and so on. So usually we use, when it comes to ls, we use these three options. What are those three options? L, long list, okay, T, sort based on the time, and then R, reverse the output. ls hyphen ltr. You can use, you can give options something like this: hyphen L, hyphen T, hyphen R, hyphen R, or you can also combine with a single hyphen. If you have multiple options, you can combine all the options with single hyphen also. See, now you know ls command. What is ls command? And then ls commands most frequently used options. And you know what? In real time, sometimes people will just go and say ls hyphen ltr. You ask some people, what is hyphen l hyphen t hyphen r? People don't know. Some, for some commands, people don't know why they are using options. They would have learned somewhere ls hyphen ltr. They just blindly type ls hyphen ltr, but they actually don't know what is l, what is t, what is r. Not everybody. Everybody, and of course, even I also type some commands without knowing, what the option is doing there. Okay, because I would have studied long back, or learned that long back and then forgotten things like that. So what I mean to say here is, it is very common that people usually or sometimes don't aware of the options. But since you are learning Linux first time, try to remember the options and then why that option is used there. Try to remember it. Right. So ls has three options, right? L, T, R. It's not only three. ls has a lot of other options. If you want to see all options of a command, use a command called man. Man means manual. If you want to see manual of any command, use this command, manual, okay, ls. See, ls, it is giving you some description, list directory contents. And you see the options. There is one option called -a. What options we know? L, T, R, correct? See how many options are there? D, caps D, small f, caps F. ls hyphen L. See, we know this hyphen L. Use a long listing format. Means show me more information. There is T. T, sort the output by last modified time. Newest first. Newest file will be shown on top. R, reverse. Correct. Where is that? And purposely I'm showing you these options slowly. R means reverse. And do you see how many other options ls command has? So most of the Linux commands will have options, and sometimes a command will be having multiple options. We know only three options so far, correct? L, T, R. Is it possible for anybody to remember all these options? Is it required? No. It is not possible for you, for me, for any human to remember all these options. In fact, you should not try to remember all these options. No. You have only, only three commands, three options, L, T, R, correct? Assume that you have some other requirement tomorrow. You know what do? You don't need to remember all, okay? Just go to man ls and then read all the options and pick the one which solves your problem. That's how we work in real time. So don't try to remember all options, but you should remember most frequently used options. Correct? LTR, for example. So these are three options are used very frequently. So you have to remember this. You don't need to remember all. For example, I have a requirement here. ls, okay. ls command is not showing something called hidden files or directories. You see this? ls hyphen a. Okay, ls hyphen a. Hyphen a. What is the job of hyphen A here? What hyphen A is doing? Can somebody tell me? Guess what is it doing? Hyphen A?
To add.
No, not add.
It's showing hidden files, sir, as well.
Showing
Hidden files, sir.
hidden files.
So it will show
A means
that dot, like whatever it is starting with the dot file. That means it is a hidden file. It will show those files also. Normally it won't show if you do a ls-n command.
correct. ls ls hyphen A. Hyphen A means all. Okay. Yes. A means all. See this? If I use hyphen A, it is showing me the files and the directories which start with dot. What is the name of this file? Dot git config. Dot is part of the name. Okay. Dot git config is the file name. We call this as a hidden file or hidden directory. If a file or directory starts with a dot, we call that as hidden file or hidden directory. Okay. So if you want to see hidden files and directories, what is that option we use? Hyphen A. Now you understand? So ls hyphen ltr. Okay. I know three options. Say for example, assume tomorrow I have a different requirement. I want to see all hidden files. So you search, you do Google search, go to ChatGPT or use this man command and then find the suitable option. See this hyphen A. Do not ignore entries starting with dot. Do not ignore files or directories which start with dot. That means show all files and directories which start with dot. So that's how you find a suitable option for your requirement and then work with Linux commands. Clear what is ls, right? And then LTR options, and what is the command and what is the option? Any questions you have so far? Okay, I want to quickly know how many of you already have experience on Linux. How many of you already know basic Linux commands? Basic is fine for me. Okay, if you know basic, just say okay, yes, I know basics. That's all. I don't want you to speak more. Okay, that's okay, fine. Because I just want to understand, okay, how many people already have experience so that I can tune, my, uh, teaching accordingly. Just say yes or no. Okay? That's enough for me. Madesh,
Yeah, sir. I have knowledge on Linux. I'm an administrator only. I have certified.
Matesh is Linux administrator. Okay, that's very good to hear. Madesh Tirupati.
Yeah, I know few things. I just
Okay,
know the
basics,
few commands.
Asha.
I have just learned it. I have no experience on that.
Okay, Asha.
I have experience in Linux.
Okay, Dayanand.
I know just basic commands like move, copy, make directory, all such basic commands, not in deep.
Okay, okay. Asha, no. Okay. And Prince.
No real time, sir, but I know some commands.
You have some comments.
No real time experience. Yeah.
Okay, Rajat.
I know few commands, basic, just YouTube videos I grab it. Not any experience on this or not tried or tested.
Okay, Santosh.
Oh, sir, I have no experience.
Okay,
I know just little.
Shiv Kumar.
Yeah, I know basic commands, but I don't know the what LTR means, L is T means, R means what, so that I don't know.
Mhm.
So I know just CD, LS, like basics.
Okay. Triveni.
No, sir. I'm very new to this.
I know you're a fresher.
Yes, sir.
Vishal?
Sir, I know the basics of Linux, but I don't have any real-time experience.
Okay, done. That's what I wanted to know. Fine. So we call this as a command, correct? ls is a command. People who already have Linux knowledge, just try if you can take something from me, or if you feel that you know basic Linux commands, you can drop off from next 3-4 classes. I'm fine with that. But I suggest you to be in the class. ls is called as a command, correct? This is pwd, present working directory, right? mkdir, create a directory. We call them as commands, right? How these commands are working? Okay, see this. Why we call it as a command first of all? So this is terminal, correct? This is terminal. Can I call it the text box? Yes. It's a text box, right? I can type some text there. Enter. It says command not found. It's not just a text box, right? It is more than a text box. So when you type a command in terminal, how is that working? Right? For example, I want to create a directory. I'm talking to operating system now. Hello, operating system. Can you create a directory for me? Is it understanding my voice? No, right? So we talk to operating system by issuing commands. You are commanding your operating system. Hello, operating system. I want this. Do this for me. Do that for me. So we are commanding, right? So we call it a command. So I have to issue a command to operating system, mkd ls, for example. If I say ls, now operating system takes this command and then it will give you the output. So you talk to operating system by issuing commands. How this command is working? Can somebody tell me how commands are working there? How are you able to talk to operating system?
Through cell, sir. Then it goes to kernel.
Excellent. See this. So this is my terminal, right? This is my terminal. We type the commands in terminal, correct? For example, you type pwd ls command or whatever. ls, for example. ls. So this is you, user. You want to talk to operating. This is your operating system, Ubuntu operating system, correct? What I want to do here, I want to see files and folders. I'm a user. I'm a user. I want to see files and folders. So what do? I open the terminal and then I type command here, ls. It just, I told you it's not just a text box, right? I told you it's not just a text box, right? It's more than a text box. So the moment you type a command here and then enter, you know what? Here, there will be a person sitting called shell. Think shell as a person. Think shell as a person. The moment you type a command, okay, this guy called shell will take your command and then it interacts with the operating system. We've installed operating system, correct? And this command will be executed here in something called kernel. What do you call this operating system? Kernel. That operating system code is called as kernel. Linux is developed in C language, okay? C. So we have that operating system code, right? It's written in C language. We call that the kernel. So the command will be executed in operating system, or you call it the kernel, right? And then shell takes the output back and then it will show you the output here. So you can say shell is acting as an interface between user and operating system, correct? So if you want to talk to operating system, you're talking to operating system through shell. It is shell who takes your command to the operating system, executes there, operating system executes there, and then it takes the response back from the operating system. It will show you the output. That's how commands are working, correct? So that is the job of shell. So in this terminal, there is a person called shell, correct? There are different shells. there are different shells. At the time of creating a Linux is created by whom? Who created Linux? Linus Torvald. This guy created Linux operating system. So when he created Linux operating system, I mean, obviously you need a shell, right? So he created a shell called sh. He created a shell, and the shell name is what? sh. Okay. Then few people came and then they did not like this shell. They created another shell called CSH in C language with some different features, for example. Then a person came called Korn. He created a separate shell called KSH. There is a lot of confusion between no shells. There are like tens of shells with the different features. Okay. And again, another person called Born came and then he created a shell called Bash. Born again, shell. Bash is considered as the superset of all shells. Bash is considered as advanced shell today. So mostly we use Bash shell. What is the job of a shell? Taking user commands and then it takes user commands and talks to operating system and then gets a output back to you, correct? It has a lot of other things, but for now, just remember that. So, and Bash, different shells have different syntax. For example, in Bash, you want to declare a variable. If it's a Bash, you say a is equal to 10. Assume that you're using CSH. If you want to declare a variable in CSH, you have to say set a10. So the syntax is different. This is the Bash syntax. This is CSH syntax. So this is Bash syntax is very easy. Okay, and it is considered as advanced now. So these days we use Bash. Let's see what shell is there in this terminal. What shell I'm using currently? How do you list the shell that you have in the terminal? How do you check it? Echo?
Sir, echo $0.
$0 bash. Okay. Or you can also do this. Dollar shell. There is a default variable called shell. Okay. You can get the value of the variable. So $0 will give you that it's a bash. And where is this bash shell installed in this machine? This bash shell is under /bin directory. Okay. Slash is a root directory, right? Root folder. Under slash, there is a bin. Under bin, this bash, a person called bash shell is installed. So bash is sitting there. So that's how you check what shell you're using. Okay. I'm using bash shell. Understand what is shell and then how your commands are executed in Linux. Any questions you have so far?
Sir, what's the difference between this echo and ls then?
Echo is print. Okay. If you want to print something, we use echo. Echo faculty. Right. So echo is print statement. If you want to print something, we use echo. ls is to list ls is to see the content of a directory. For example, this is a folder, right? If I want to see what is there inside the distros, I double click. But it is showing me the content, right? Correct. So this is ls. Echo is printing. Whatever you say, it will just print. For example, I'm writing a program, right? I'm writing a program. I want to print something from the program. What do? I say echo. In the program, I can say, for example, I want to print, okay? For example, starting server. I want to print starting server. So in that case, in the program, I use echo. Echo is for printing something.
But it will not save anywhere, right? Whatever we printed.
Sorry, they could not hear you.
No, sir, like if you use echo and if you type something else, like it will just show it up, but it will not say anything right anywhere.
What is it? Echo?
Using echo,
Mm-hmm.
if you type something else, it will just print it, but it will not save it anywhere. Right?
It will not save, it will just print. Yeah, correct. It will just print that stuff. Whatever you eat, it will print.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay. Right. So what I'll do now, let's learn, maybe some basic commands, okay? 20-25 basic Linux commands. And then we'll jump to DevOps, right? And whenever I hit, some advanced commands, I'll explain. So I'll be teaching you Linux commands throughout the course, okay? Fine.
So touch is used to create a file.
Yeah, touch is used to create an empty file, touch. Ansible.txt. This is the file. Okay. So what I'll do, let me just take some list of commands. Okay. Let me take some commands. I'll just go ahead and say basic Linux commands. Basic Linux commands. Go to this website, okay? Hostinger. You see Hostinger here? Hostinger. Click on it. Okay. 60 essential Linux commands. Essential Linux commands. Scroll down. See, ls command, pwd, cd, mkdir, rmdir. So likewise, there are some 60 commands here. I'll skip few commands. We'll discuss them later and cover few basic things. Okay, so that you can start working on Linux. In case if somebody wants to drop off from next, 2-3 sessions, if you don't want to, if you feel that you know the commands already, if you don't want to again, listen about these commands, I'll do one thing, okay? I'll tell you what commands I'm going to cover. I'll tell you what commands I'm going to cover. If you think that you know these commands, you can drop off, okay? ls, pwd, cd, mkdir, rm command I will cover. I'll cover cp command, move command I'll cover, touch, zip, unzip, tar command. Here I'll discuss Vim editor, okay? Not this. I'll discuss Vim editor, vim, cat, grep, scd, sed command, head, tail, arc we'll discuss later. Cut, I'll explain. Diff, t, find, sudo, su, who am I? I'll cover these commands. I'll cover chmod also, chown. Whatever commands I'm covering, I'm just spelling them, okay? So user add, passwd, userdel, df, du, ps, uname, host name, kill, shutdown, ping, wget, scp. I think that's all. So these are the commands I'll be discussing. Okay, if you think you know these commands, you can drop off. History, man, echo. Yeah, that's all. Right. Oh, it's already 8:06. Okay, we'll continue from here tomorrow. Okay. ls, pwd, Don't quit. Just wait for some time. cd command, mkdir, right? See this mkdir. Okay. dir. Say for example, I want to create a directory called Jenkins. Okay, it's creating a directory Jenkins, right? What if I want to create multiple directories at once? Say I want to create a directory called A. Under A, I want to create a directory called B. Under B, I want to create a directory called C. Can I create multiple directories at once? What is it doing? It says ABC, no such file or directory. We know, right? Command has a default behavior, correct? What is the default behavior of ls? It will show you the files and folders at a very high level. That's a default behavior of, that's a default work of ls command. What is the default work of mkdir? It says you give the one directory, it will create it. It will get only one directory at once. By default, mkdir can create only a single directory. It cannot create multiple directories. If you want to create multiple directories, you have to change the behavior of a command, right? And how do you change the behavior of a default behavior of a command? How do you change? How do we change the default behavior of a command? Using what?
Using options.
Using options. Now, you have to use an option. mkdir by default creates single directory. If you want to ask mkdir to create multiple directories, you have to tell mkdir, hello mkdir, do this, work this way. What is that option we use to create multiple directories at once? Hyphen. Hyphen.
P.
P. If you use hyphen P, now you're changing the behavior of the command, right? Now it creates. There is a directory called A. Under A, there is a directory called B. Under B, there is a directory called C. Correct? A/B/C. That's how create multiple directories.
What is P, sir?
P means parent.
Sorry?
P means parent. See this. One second.
Okay.
mkdir, say for example, hello, right? Hello. So it creates a single directory, correct? Let me remove the directory. A. So mkdir hello, it creates a single directory called hello. Where is it? Say here. Right? Okay. Now I'm asking mkdir command to create A, under A, B, under B, C. A, B, C. So if you just give like this, you know what? It'll think. It can create only a single directory at once, right? It can create only one directory. So if you just give ABC, it will try to create a directory called C. And it is assuming A is already there, B is already there. Under B, it is trying to create a single directory, C. That's what it means. Doesn't it says, you see this? Cannot create a directory called C. It is actually trying to create C directory. But if you want to create C directory, there should be A and B both, right? It says there is no such file or directory. Means I am trying to create, see, mkdir. I create only one directory at once. So I'm trying to create C, but A and B not present. So I'm telling mkdir command now, hello mkdir hyphen P. Hyphen P means create parents if missing. Create parent directories if missing. So it will create C. If B is missing, it will create. If A is missing, it will create. That means it will get all files and directories. If you want to get multiple directories, recursively. If you want to create multiple directories recursively in the sense A under that, A, B under B, C. That's called as recursive behavior. Okay, one inside the another one. So if you want to create multiple directories recursively, we use hyphen P. P means create parent if missing. P for parent. Remember that. Create parent if missing. Clear with that? Understand what is P?
Yes, sir. So can we create a multiple folders?
Multiple folders.
The same,
yeah.
The same. It is not like inside one inside. It's not like
yeah, not recursively. So Multiple directories if you want to create, you can do. For example, faculty is a directory name, right? And say RAM is a directory, right? It's another directory called Terraform, for example. See, it's not recursive behavior, right? It will create faculty, right? RAM, Terraform. It's not recursive. Recursive means one inside the another one, correct? So if you want to create multiple directories, you can create multiple directories. But recursively, you cannot create. Okay, let me explain this bit. You can create multiple directories at once using mkdir. You cannot create directories recursively by default. Clear with that? Let me change my sentence. I think I would have confused you. You can create multiple directories like this. Yes. Okay, it will create this first. Of course, it will create one directory at a time. This one, this one, this one. But recursively, you cannot create. Let me change my sentence a bit. Okay. Clear now, everybody? Thanks
Yes.
for writing that out. Okay, I'm just removing a few things. Okay, don't worry about this command. I'll explain that later. Okay, so what you have to do now every day, okay? After today's class, just open the browser, type something like this. Basic Linux commands. What's it? Basic Linux commands. Type in the browser. I'm in Google. Not basic Linux commands, sorry. Basic Linux tutorials. Not basic Linux commands, okay? Basic Linux tutorials. And then there are a lot of tutorials. One is in Geeks for Geeks, Tutorials Point, in different, you have tutorials in multiple websites. Whatever you feel easy, whatever tools you understand, read it. Okay. For example, let's see, Geeks for Geeks. Getting started with Linux. Okay. Linux commands, Linux file system. Okay. What is kernel? So this seems to be okay. Let's see this tutorials point. I think this is better than that. Directories, permissions, basic utilities, pipes. So start reading this. Your wish, whatever you feel easy, right? If you feel that you understand their language well, take this or whatever. A complete guide for beginners. Okay. So I'm giving you an assignment today. What's that? Basic Linux tutorials. So Linux should be your daily learning activity. Linux learning should be your daily activity. Okay. So usually in real time, if a person knows 80 to 100 commands, he or she is usually considered as advanced Linux user. 100 commands. Try to learn 100 commands. No worries. By end of the course, you will become advanced Linux user. Okay. So just follow my guidance. So you have to start taking a basic Linux tutorial from today. Clear with that? Any questions you have for me?
Yes, sir. I have a question. So, sir, being a DevOps engineer, are we expected to know the networking commands of Linux as well?
A basic networking, not I mean, not in depth. Basic networking commands is better. Yeah.
So, sir, which will include, like, can you name some of them?
I'll cover a few things later. Yeah. Netstat, there are a few more commands. I'll cover them.
Yeah, okay. Systemctl, these things we are going to read out.
Yeah. Service,
Okay.
system.
And yes, sir. And I
Yeah.
have a basic question as well. So, sir, just now you told right that whenever user is giving any command to the terminal, okay, the shell is doing the job for us. Shell is taking that command and going to the kernel and taking the output from there and give it to us.
Correct.
So, is there any phone directory stored in kernel which is already storing the output of the commands, or how is it working? If you can throw some light.
There is nothing ready-made there. It will execute the command. So it executes the commands on the fly, and then it will generate the output. The output is not already stored there. You are giving LS, correct?
Yes.
LS, correct? It will go to operating system, right? Kernel means C language code, correct?
Yes, sir.
C code, correct? Code. So for this command, there will be some code. This code will be executed. Code will be executed. So the moment it executes the code, it finds the content of that directory wherever you are in. For example, there's a code here, right? So that code ls, correct? The moment you give ls, so shell will take that ls command to your kernel operating system. That means it's a code. So code will be executed. Operating system code gets executed. This code will find out the content of this particular directory, right, wherever you're in currently, and then it sends output back. So that's how the command gets.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I mean, the result is not readily stored there. It will be generated on the fly based on the command that you give.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, sir.
No problem. Okay, that's all from my side. See you on Tuesday. So classes are 4 days a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sometimes I take Monday also. Depends. If you feel that now we are going slow, I'll take extra classes. Otherwise, by default, classes are 4 days a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So
So
Tuesday will be offline, online or offline?
next week I'll start offline, Shukmar. So next week I'll take online. After that I'll start offline. Okay. Is that fine, Shukmar?
Yeah. Because offline is better than online. Can interact comfortably
These are
in
just
offline.
basic classes, right? Bear with me for 1 week,
Yeah.
then I'll start.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. See you on Tuesday.